the stars are watching you. You gotta ride the tumbleweed.
Good morning, Larry Hankin, and welcome back to Chatbox with Sam. And this is season 4, and where you are now. You have a great book out.
Well, I got two
That
now.
guy, yes,
Well, okay, this is that guy,
that's
but the announcement I have is here's the new one. This is the new one. It's called Loopholes. Uh,
oh,
that's the cover. It's just 4 stories. It's for one, two, three, four. It's just 4 fictions, 4 short stories. Well, long short stories. About
yes,
60 pages each
oh
around.
wow,
Um, yeah, so but the announcement is that they both are coming out on Kindle on Thursday, this coming Thursday.
oh
So, and
wow.
they're really cheap. They're going to be like about $5 a piece. It's going to be great, but they're really funny. They're really good.
How
So
come so
that's the
cheap?
announcement. Well, because the that guy I is you can get it hardcover or soft cover on
Right.
Amazon.com. But they're $28 a piece. This one is 28, and then the hardcover is 38. I mean I wouldn't buy it if it was that much money if I had to buy it.
Are you
So
sure?
well, yeah, because so I thought, well, let's put it out on Kindle, which is on Amazon. It's just a different page.
Oh
Larry
yeah.
Hankin Amazon. But Kindle, well, Kindle you can only read on the internet. You can't have you can't have it in your hand. But it's
Right.
$5. It's the exact same book. I mean, with the same pictures, the same jokes, the same everything.
Have you
But
thought about doing audio too for the blind?
well,
Because
yeah,
you've
that's
got a
the
very
next step.
gret voice.
The next step is they're going to do an audio of both, and then release them with a different publisher and get the price down to about $15 for the books, for the soft cover books.
Right.
If you can hold in your hand.
Well, I know
But
you.
but good. Well, this is going to be just on the internet, but it's $5. I mean, you can't go wrong. You
Well,
cannot go
I
wrong.
saw it on the internet, and I know I saw it on Amazon this morning, and I know that guy is a memoir, and then you have the
Yeah, and it's
loopholes.
got a
You have the
great
loopholes
review.
dossier, which is a satire, and then you have this new loopholes book, and I saw the people making comments, and it's an alchemy of your life. It's just they were just really
Well, it's
really
got it's got
pleased with it.
the hardcover book of that guy on Amazon, or the softcover book on Amazon. That's $28.
28
Uh,
bucks.
it's got great reviews. Everybody who's bought the book has given it great reviews. I got like
Absolutely.
a 4.4 out of 5 gold stars on Amazon. That's like a bestseller.
Well, then it's worth
But
$28.
it had
I
nobody.
don't think that's expensive, Larry. $28 for a good book. I don't think that's expensive.
Oh, really? To me, that's really expensive. Well, anyway, I'd rather get it to, like, young kids and stuff like that. I mean,
Ah,
and
yeah.
the economy is, I don't know, weird now. So I just thought, and it doesn't cost me any more or less, but I think I'd sell more books. That's
That's true.
I would rather have more people read it than get sales. It's the
Oh.
readership that I want.
Well, I've always, I interviewed you in season 2. And I always found you a very humble man. You told the story. You've told the story of when by choice you were homeless, by choice living in your car. You nearly set yourself on fire with the gas can. I
Well,
remember.
that was when I was 6. I didn't know what the hell was going on, man.
No, but
I
when you
thought, well, this would be a good idea. Let's set my face on fire. Okay.
yeah, but when
Yeah.
you were living in your car as well, you nearly had a near miss, didn't you? Because you were trying to warm yourself up in the
Oh,
cold.
that.
Yes.
Oh, no, that was asphyxiation. That wasn't fire.
I
That
don't
was
know
I was
which
going
is
to
worse.
smother myself.
Right.
Yeah, I lit a hibachi. I was going to do some cooking and warm myself up by closing all the windows in the car and lighting the hibachi on, which is charcoal, which I mean that's like carbon dioxide. That's
Oxide,
crazy.
yes, yes. Well,
And
luckily,
I fell asleep. But I got a very excellent well, I guess subconscious or unconscious or
you're
in other words, I was
subconscious.
sleeping and I got an incredible headache, which was woke me up to the fact that oh my God, I'm suffocating myself. So I, opened the doors and got
That
out.
was your body telling you something's wrong, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that was kind of cool. In other words, I was totally unconscious. I was asleep, and the headache woke me up, which that's kind of my unconscious person is really sharp because I would have and the weird thing I figured this out later on that had I not woken up I would have passed away because
Exactly.
of the carbon dioxide in the car. um,
It wasn't your time, Larry.
it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't my time. So that was kind of cool that I had that inner body thing going.
Going on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
for
yeah, that was twice. But listen, I've had knives at my throat and guns at my head. So those two things were minor compared to
oh
what's going on
no.
with my life.
So you've had
Oh, yeah.
guns at your head, and obviously you're still here to live to tell the tale. You must have talked your way out of
Um,
it.
Well, I did. Well, my friend, thank God, well, no, I had the knife at my throat. Yeah, I talked my way out of it. I
Yeah.
had two knives at my throat, two different. Now, well, so that's like already we've talked about six, brushes with death in the first couple of minutes of your show.
I know,
But
but as you know
I've
from
got to
before,
clear
I'm
that up.
uncensored.
I've got to clear that up. Um, the 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 reason I'm dyslexic. I'm dyslexia. I was born with it. There's workarounds. It's incurable, but it can be dealt with so that nobody knows
I
about it.
know because my son is too. My mom, I grew up with a mom that couldn't read or write.
Yeah, yeah. I can read and I can write, but
She
it's very
couldn't, and she
difficult
still
for me
can't.
to read.
It's
Yeah.
very difficult.
So, well, you can there's workarounds and stuff like that, and you can
Yeah,
practice, but it takes a lot of energy. It's like trying to lose weight by lifting weights and going to the gym.
right.
In other words, if there's ways of being able to read, which I did, and it's tough. But the whole point with dyslexia is dyslexia, not reading, lexia, book reading, and no.
What
So
about there's verbally as well. I have very hard time. I'm good at reading, but when it comes out, like with names, it
yeah,
jumbles. I
yeah,
can't
memory
pronounce
and
names. So
stuff
I'm
like that.
verbally dyslexic. My son and my daughter are both dyslexic. And I
Well,
bought
so what do you do? Is there anything that because when I was a kid, dyslexia hadn't been discovered yet. It wasn't.
it's still a fight with the school system, Larry. I had to fight with the school system. I took my son back to England to 8 months for 8 months so he could learn to read because when he was young, 8, he still couldn't read. Well, in
Wow.
2017, he still couldn't read properly, and he was getting Fs and Fs and Fs. And I bought the Fonz, the Fonz. I bought Henry Winkler. I bought his books on dyslexia,
Oh,
which brought the first and the third letter and it bolded them, and I took them into the school system, and the school was amazing. The school board wouldn't budge. They're still fighting to these days because with dyslexia it's like they say they test on the normal level they'll fail, But
Yeah.
if they test them in another way, then they fail again because they don't graduate. So they're a lose-lose situation. So the school board really needs to change up the way they do things. I mean, my son's
Well,
auditory, so it helps
um,
him. But now he's getting A's and B's. He went to school for 8 months. His teacher was dyslexic. We got blue, see-through plastic blue sheets, put it over the words, and then he trained his brain to use without the blue sheets, and he trained his brain now to slowly read, and he's just come off the IEP program and now on this other program that they're having in the school. So they are getting better, but the education
yeah,
board
yeah.
needs to be more
'Cause
aware.
I notice now, because I'm very aware of it. Yeah, I notice now the schools are starting to understand what dyslexia is. It's a learning disability, but it's not fatal. And there are workarounds, and you can get over it. And even if you just don't do anything, you can learn to read better, which obviously your son
Yeah,
has. But
right.
I didn't know for the first 20 years of my life.
No.
So the threats to my life, besides being in the car and throwing kerosene into a fire and it burned my face. No, the knives at my throat and the guns at my head were because I didn't understand the situation because
Right.
of my dyslexia, or I said the wrong thing at the wrong
Wrong
time.
time. Yeah.
Which is, and one of the people had a gun. And what do
Oh.
you mean they thought I was a cop, is how they
Oh.
interpreted what I
Mm.
said. And it was a drug dealer in
Oh
his home.
dear.
And I didn't know that, so so luckily I was brought to this house by a friend who explained the situation while I'm standing there with a gun at my head. No, no, he's dyslexic. No, no, he's a. But what took the gun away was even not the explanation of dyslexia. It was in North Beach in San Francisco, and we had a theater there. I was a theater actor. I was an improv. We have an improvisational theater there. And it was a sold out show all the time. And there was lines around the block. So, and it was a San Francisco attraction. In other words, we were so popular that the Chamber of Commerce of San Francisco advertised us along with everything else in San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge and the
Right.
committee
How
and
awesome.
North Beach. And so we had a big following. And my friend had enough sense to call that to bring that up. And so he had the gun to my head. And the guy says, no, 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 don't. And he said, no, no, man, he's a cop. He's a cop. And he says, no, no, he's not a cop. And then he just said, my friend said to this guy,
Yeah.
the dealer, he said, no, no, have you ever been to the committee? And that sounded like just something weird out of nowhere. He's holding a gun to my head and he goes, yeah, what does that got to do with anything? And he said, no, no, this guy is in the committee. And he took the gun away and he looked at me and he goes, oh, you're in the committee. Oh, this guy's really funny. Hey, everybody, this guy's really funny.
That took a
That was
180
it.
pretty quick, right?
Whoa, man, that was close. It was a party. It was his birthday party.
Oh
And I went,
wow! And he's getting out. He's 45. That's
No,
terrible.
and everybody in there in this party that he invited,
Right.
there was drugs all over the place. There was cocaine on the table, and everybody was smoking doobies. So, in other words, he,
What year was this, Larry?
this was
The
at the
70s?
end of the 60s. It
The
was
end
like
of the 60s?
67,
Yeah.
68 in North Beach in San Francisco.
Wow.
So
I only
everybody
live a
was,
couple of hours away from San Fran.
say that again?
I only live a couple of hours away from San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, what city?
Auburn, California.
Oh,
Fourth,
well, I've
fourth,
heard of it. I've never
in
been there,
between
but yeah.
Tahoe and Sacramento, I live.
Oh, wow.
But I love
Okay.
San Francisco. They've got some great comedy clubs. They've got the Cobb's Comedy Club there now. John Fugelsang and Sexy Liberator go there, and they have quite a great
Well, I don't. I
comedians
just came from there. I did a book signing. Did you know
in San Francisco.
I just went there this weekend.
I wish you'd have
To
told me. I would have come and met you.
Well, no, I was working the entire time. I was being shuttled
Shuttled
around.
around.
I mean, Sunday I spent the entire day on Alcatraz, being taken around by a guard, and because I was in Escape from Alcatraz, the
Yes, you
movie.
was with Clint
So
Eastwood.
I'm famous there on
Yes,
Alcatraz.
you are.
So they showed me around. I had a guide. I spent the whole. It's exhausting because it's all changed since we did the movie. It's now a major tourist
To
attraction
action.
because of the movie and because it's Alcatraz. I mean, it's one of the most famous,
It is.
prisons in the
It
world.
used to be a military base before it was a prison.
I guess they didn't say that, but
Yeah.
they took me around to all the, well, this is, they took me around to my cell,
Did
the
they?
one I had in the movie. So I visited my cell. It's in kind of disrepair now because what I didn't realize it when we were doing the
Filming.
movie, when we were filming, but the Warner Brothers, because it was a Clint Eastwood movie,
Yes.
it was a tentpole movie. In other words, they spent millions. It was like the
I've
budget was,
seen it. I've seen it, and my parents have seen it. I've seen it a few
well,
times. Yeah,
everybody's seen it. I mean,
it's a great movie.
well, yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's a
No, it's
great
great,
movie.
Larry. It's great.
Well,
Take
no,
it.
I know it's great, but I don't brag about it. I mean, I had a part in it.
I can
But
brag for you.
well, thank you. But Warner Brothers, before they shot the movie, went in and repaired everything so that it looked like when the character that Clint Eastwood was playing was there. Well,
Right.
it was fairly new at that time. So they fixed everything and they repainted everything. And one of the rules of the government, that's a national monument,
Right.
Alcatraz.
Yes.
That's a national, yeah, place. So you had to get permission from the government, not from California, but from the
Oh,
government
the federal
to
government.
shoot
Yeah.
there. So the government wouldn't let them repair a lot of stuff because no, they want an original. This is a national monument. You can't just come over and paint a statue just because you want to film it. I mean, they repaired everything.
Yeah.
But the guide who took me there over the weekend on Sunday and took me around, he showed the difference between, no, this was painted because of the movie. They didn't like the movie. The people on Alcatraz, except that it brought more tourists
Tourist
there,
attract.
so they
Yeah.
like that. But no, they even stopped us from filming. When I was making the movie, the government moved in under the auspices of California Park Department uh, and said, "No, you're changing too much. Get out of here." I mean, they wanted us off the island.
Oh.
Get out of here. So what they did was, and this is really cool. The Smokies because of the hat, but they were park rangers. But because of the hats they wore, we call them Smokies. So the Smokies would take tours through. Now this was before we got there. This was just general. They still do it. They have a Smoky take guides, and they
Right.
take you around. They talk, just like in a museum or anything like that. But one of the rules that the government made us follow was that if a tour came through where we were filming, we had to stop, even if it was in the middle of a scene. We had
Right.
to cut, move back, and let the tour come through. And if it was in front of a famous, well, Al Capone was in this cell.
Yeah.
If it was somebody famous or something like that. We had to stop shooting until the guide finished his talk about, this is where Al Capone was, blah 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 blah. and it took as long as he wanted, and then and then he moved on, and then we could, go back in and stuff. So what they did was, if they wanted us to move or out of there, they told the Smokies, and the Smokies all agreed to this, that they would find out where we were filming, and they would take a tour through there. So in other words,
Oh
every place
no.
that we had to stop filming, and they would stay very long and talk very long about it, which was, costing us, it was costing Warner Brothers millions of dollars
Yeah.
because we had to stop, and
Yeah.
and then so finally they said, get off the island. You're
Oh
doing too
no.
much damage. Damage was being repairing. So what they worked out a deal, and then we had to shut down for one day during the negotiations. We couldn't film or do anything. We had to just wait and see what, either we get off the island or they could work out some workaround. So the workaround was that we couldn't shoot anywhere where we were shooting.
Right.
We had to move to another part of the prison where there were no tours, which was really obscure.
I
But
know.
we had to do that. Yeah, so we had to do that. Well, nobody knows in the movie because Warner Brothers would come in, and if there was
Well,
anything,
guess what? They know
wrong,
now.
well, what they did was they fixed it. Warner Brothers came in with money
Yeah.
and painters and made it look exactly like where we were kicked out of. So that was okay. So that's how we could continue shooting.
Filming.
But the Smokies filming, yeah. Well, no, we call it.
Shooting. Sorry.
People in the business call it shooting. Oh, I
Shooting.
see. Gun shoot. I go, okay. Film it. So,
For those that don't know, they should know. Larry was in Friends. I know they've just lost a cast member.
oh, Mr.
Mr.
Yeah,
Heckles with the broom.
Mr. Heckles. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's really weird. I guess if I was they must be making millions off of that show.
Right.
The the five actors and actresses.
Jennifer
Um,
Aniston.
yeah, because that's my most. I'm known for that.
That's the film, isn't it? That and then people say, "Oh, that guy." That's what you made your book from, the
Well,
memoir.
yeah, because when they see me on the street, they don't know my name. That's why the book doesn't sell. Nobody knows my name.
Right.
So I have to. It's advertising. You got to advertise. It's really
Absolutely.
weird.
And it's
In
that
the old.
guy.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to shut this off. Okay, there you go.
That's
All right.
okay.
Shut off my phone. Um, yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, like yesterday, I was in the supermarket and I was just shopping, and this guy comes up to me, said, "Hey, I just saw you on Friends last night." Wow. I did that like maybe 12, 15 years
Years
ago.
ago.
And he saw it last night.
Yeah.
And I
It's
don't know what to say.
iconic.
Well, to other people, not to me. I'm trying to shop. I'm trying to get some apples.
Excuse me, I'm trying to remember my eggs and bacon.
Yeah. I mean, no, it really, it's not. I mean, in the beginning, it's great. People, oh, hi, Mr. Heckles. Oh, hi, old Joe, or, you know, but you're in the middle of,
You
you
don't
could
want
be
to
in
be
the middle of the
bothered,
desert.
yes.
And all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and tells you about something that they saw that you did 15 years ago. And it's just like jarring. Well, okay, thank you. All I do is I say thank you very much. They expect a conversation.
Right.
And I go, what are we going to talk? I don't know you. You know
Exactly.
me, but I don't know you.
Well, they know the cast member, they don't know the person, and that's what my show's about. So I can show
Yeah.
you, not who you were cast up in. You've been cast in Friends and Home Alone and so many films.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So that,
an
yeah, and the Home Alone.
Independence, yeah.
Now, okay, so Home Alone. I don't see. I'm a person. I'm a Homo sapien. I I just I do for a living. I act because it pays the rent. But
Right.
I'm not an actor. I'm not the character, and so I don't really understand fandom. You know,
Yeah.
I have people who I admire, you know,
Yeah.
that I guess you could say I'm a fan of, but I would never, you know, they're different than what I have in mind when I say I'm a fan of, you know, I'm a fan of Bill Burr. You know, he's a stand-up comedian. But I would never go up and expect to have a conversation with him. I
No.
mean, you know, you just say,
Well, I'm
hey,
I'm glad you're
great
giving me
job.
the opportunity to have a conversation with you for the second time.
Well, great.
The hardest part is growing
Well,
the
the hardest
audience.
part is growing your audience, anybody's audience. I mean, you know,
Yes.
my audience, your audience. Yeah. The hardest part is getting, well, for theaters, it's, you know, asses in the seats. That's the important
Yes,
thing.
that too.
Or eyeball. They say eyeballs on the TV. You
Right.
know, how many people are watching?
Mm-hmm.
Eyeballs, you know,
Yeah.
people in the seats. And that's hard to do, even if you're very talented. You know,
Yeah.
right
The
now,
ratings. Mm.
well, right now, I've learned this that 80% of all the books sold on Earth are bought by women. That's amazing.
You know what? Because we're
80%.
we're intelligent beings and we rock.
Yeah, whatever the reason is, uh, you know. But if you walk down the way to tell, a friend of mine has a book, and he does very well. He walks the beach. I live by the beach here.
Yeah,
He walks
nice.
up and down the beach selling his book,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and he just approaches people who are reading on the beach. That's how he sells his book.
Yeah.
And he's got a silver tongue, man. He's got a great, you know, selling spiel. But he notices, and he was the one who told me this, but I found out through doing research.
Mm-hmm.
He says that 90% of the people reading books on the beach are women.
Yeah.
And if you go on the beach, you'll see that that's true. Hardly any men read books, but women do all the time.
I love
So
to
he just
read.
approaches, yeah, well, he approaches women on the beach and says, "Hey, I see you reading it," and he reads a lot too,
Right.
so he can carry on. He asks. I mean, I heard part of his spiel. It's really great. He'll walk up, and he's very is not the right word, humble, but he's very friendly. I mean, you're not threatened by him. You know, if
Mm.
he walks up and say, "Hey, what book are you reading?" You'll tell him. I mean, he's just very friendly.
Yeah. He's got a
And
good aura about him.
this is a bestseller on Amazon.
Okay.
It is. It's got 4.4 out of 5 gold stars. It's
And
really
that's
cool. It's about everything in show business that that you never heard of before. It's what not to. Somebody told me what I said. Well, what's a good synopsis of the book? And they said everything that you. It's for actors. Everything that an actor shouldn't do in show business. Read this.
that's
Everything an actor shouldn't do. You'll find out. It's great. It's great.
and to all you actors
And
out
they
there, watching this, you should buy this book.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a cautionary tale. It says it right on it. And this one is just 4 short stories. It's great. It's really
Awesome.
cool
So this
and
is
and readable. Okay.
Larry Hankin, where you are now. Thank you very much for being on Chatbox with Sam Season 4, Larry. Once again, you've been a joy to talk with.
I'm a bright star in the nighttime. I'ma go hard when it's my time.